Hello folks, hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about humanoids, or androids or humanoids. What are these kinds of robots, right? So, this thing was developed in Disney World, animatronics, human looking form, trying to make humans. It was, of course, a great contribution of doing this kind of thing. In other words, we're like, I'll tell you, if you haven't watched Terminator, Terminators have already existed, and I could tell you the scene of what would happen. This would be the scene that at first that you have seen this a robot, human looking robots, call it androids, call it humanoids. We have android phones, but humanoids or something like it is machines that are created in a form of humankind. Robots that look human. They're gonna look like you, gonna look like me, right? First of all, this technology to make this kind of human look like robots has started in Japan. Was for good purpose, good use, for whatever reason is for civilian purposes. And whatever it is that I could show you a picture. So what do you think of this? Yes, it is. Sorry, my room's a mess. It is what it is. Human purposes. But I will tell you something. This kind of technology to make this a human form robot, has been the birth of what we have seen in the movies, the Terminator. What is a Terminator? It's a humanoid used for war purposes, for in case of war. Why? Once technology transcends from one country to another country, depending on the use of purposes, would imagine of the atomic bombs would be creating like the worst creation, even though plutonium was created for submarines. Nazi submarines use nuclear fuel, but that's just one part of the tip of damage. And one other thing about the development of human-like robots, or what I'm saying, Terminators. Well, this kind of technology would pass from Japan to the Middle East. What would happen? I think this is what will happen. Same thing. You look at Terminator 2. You see the beginning. And this is how it is when these kind of type of human-like forms of robots will be created in the Middle East. I'll show you. Terminator 3, they have a war scene. I will show you the scene of Terminator 3, what will happen. Terminators that I think Japan already invented. Terminators. The concept of the Terminator already existed in real life. This is just the reality, just to show you what would happen if the Middle East, whichever country in the Middle East, could be Iran, could be Syria, could be Iraq, take this kind of technology from Japan, and guess what? You already seen the Terminator movies. Terminator 2 in the beginning. Terminator 3. I'll show you a scene from Terminator. From a Terminator movie. Because these robots, even if it's developed in the Middle East, will eventually attack the US and the UK, killing millions of civilian lives. You know, that means this Middle Eastern country will use humanoid robots or actually, let me tell you the truth, Terminators against US or UK military forces that are men and women of our armed forces of the US and the UK fighting against the armed forces of that Middle Eastern country that is actually looks like you and me. You look humans, but they're actually machines. This is not somebody strapping themselves blowing up to smithereens. But I'll show you what will happen in the United States and the United Kingdom is going to look like you're gonna live the actual scenes of those Terminator movies. Humanoid technology created in the Middle East. That's for sure. It is going to happen. It is going to happen pretty soon. It is when this kind of technology passes on whichever Middle Eastern country, you know, it is fighting for the United States and the United Kingdom are the ones involving to this kind of war in the Middle East. That means that, probably Israel could have some help, but you know, it is when you pass on to technology. Humanoid robots, or Terminators, that I might say, because Terminators already existed. Japan invented the concept of the Terminator, but the Middle East is gonna take it all away. Nobody will survive about these humanoid type of robots, or the Terminators, but this kind of technology is going to be used for purposes of war, for war purposes. They're gonna have guns. They're gonna kill men and women, and children, anybody, just like the Terminator. Like the Terminator movies. Terminator 2. This is what happened. What happened with the Middle East would create this humanoid technology. and created for what kind of purpose? Imagine the beginning of Terminator 2. Imagine the war scene of Terminator 3 in the United States and the United Kingdom. That is what will happen. I mean, it is what it is. Spying on our allies in the Far East would be making sure the technology, if it's passed to the Middle Eastern country, what kind of purpose they're going to use of humanoid robots, or what it is, the creation of the Terminator. So this is what it is. The scene of this is, I would like to go to Japan. They have all the cool technology. They invented they came up with this development of this kind of humanoid robots for, civilized purposes. But the Middle East will use it for military purposes. That means they may use these robots to do a war, to attack men, women, children, to attack our own forces, because we cannot beat a machine. A human being cannot beat the machine, because the technology will be so developed. You would imagine how people get killed by these humanoid robots or by these Terminators. So the scene is to look through the movies. Even the US government had to look through the movies. What would Japan would do to pass the technology to the Middle Eastern country if they wanted to use? Because maybe want to think for certain, one of these Middle Eastern countries would actually really does surpasses, use the technology and make it better and make it look like us. And that way, when we go to war and they have sent machines here in the United States or the United Kingdom, we cannot beat them. You cannot, you just shoot them with a machine gun. Is just shooting at the Pillsbury Doughboy. Didn't do jack crap. It just tickles them. In other words, it's gonna be too dangerous. I know what it is. Go into this very deadly and dangerous situation could be what is invented in Japan with these humanoid robots was the actually base creation of what we called in the movies the Terminator. And what happened if this creation goes by, pass it on to the Middle East, improves it, and make it more like robots, you will living the series of the Terminator movies. You go out, Terminator could kill you. A soldier comes out, he cannot beat the Terminator. And then I use all the willpower for using Terminators, and guess what? If they succeed to win, we'll lose our religious freedom. And one thing it is, I would imagine machines kicking our asses of the men and women of the armed forces of the United States or the armed forces of the United Kingdom would be because of what happened, losing our religious freedom and stick with what we're gonna do underneath basement churches, or just go and practice Islam, even though those would be underneath of renegades, people using the religion under the name of Allah, God in Arabic, following the Quran. And that's what would happen if they develop this humanoid technology, develop it, and living ourselves in the real life Terminator movie. It's kind of scary, but it is what it is. Just write me a comment. What do you think about using the technology, the Middle East developing this technology of renegades and rebels, using this, bringing it to the United States to use it for war purposes and to attack everybody? I think that is something very scary that the US and the UK has to investigate what kind of technology to have preventing Terminator use. Preventing Terminator use is like humanoid technology being sent to the Middle East. So, goodbye and peace out.